Canadian market. However, it's never a piece of cake for them to achieve some kind of sustainable growth inside this new market or just merely survive in this new market. And today, on the way of Huawei's Huawei's way of expansion into the global market, we can see that after the water route in America, it also faces kind of difficulties in Canada. And as a people from Shenzhen, where Huawei has been founded, we also hope that Huawei could do better and go further in the international market in the future. So today we're going to help Huawei to root in Canada and help it to solve its problems. And before that, let's check out our agenda. Firstly, we'll have a case introduction, and then we'll move to problem analysis and provide our own solutions. And we'll also move on to risk and response, and at last, there will be an executive summary. And Huawei, which has been founded in China in 1987, it has large market share, no matter in domestic market or overseas market. And it is actively expanding into the overseas market since entering Canada in 2008. And it's mainly providing some kind of equipment and related services to the carriers. So we can also check what's happening inside the Canada's telecom industry. We mainly focus on firstly on supply aspects. Globally, Huawei's supplies mainly consist of big manufacturers and also smaller specialist equipment suppliers. However, only 9% of Huawei's suppliers is from North America. And as for the customers as well, we can see the carriers mainly consist of like Telus and Rogers. They also have a large demand on reducing the infrastructure spending and also the development of next generation technology. And as for the competitors, there's an intense competition because its rivals like Ericsson and Nokia also has a good market performance inside the Canadian market. And we can also check what's happening outside the industry. Firstly, on the political issues, there's increasing concerns on the national security, which has added many stress to Huawei's business inside Canada. And secondly, as for economic, there's a stable growth of Canada's telecom industry. Like during 2009 to 2013, the growth rate has been reached 2.3%. And as for social aspects, firstly for the citizens or its customers, their attitude towards Huawei on national security issues is relatively moderate. And there's also increasing recognition of Huawei inside the Canadian market as well. And as for the technological aspect, we can see there is also a huge demand or a huge tendency on the development of the 5G technology in the future. So we can see that facing this kind of, especially for the political issues coming from the Canada governments, the core problem for Huawei today is that how could Huawei to guard its Canadian market even if facing this kind of stress from the government? And we really divide the problem into two layers. Firstly, what Huawei should do in short term is how to eliminate or decrease the negative influence that caused by this kind of national security issues. And secondly, as for long term, how could Huawei to further develop its business, or how could Huawei to further root it into the Canadian market? And let's welcome our partners to further elaborate on our solutions.
So thanks, Andrew. And as we see that the core issue today is how we can form a relatively good relationship with the government, right? And we see that our external partnership for the operation solution goes like this. First of all, we want to have a very good relationship with the government. So we want, first of all, we offer some discount to the rural companies who are in great need of the telecommunication services to boom the local economy. And second of all, we create more jobs because we see from the case that Huawei actually win award and grants from the government because they create more jobs before. So actually by doing so, we believe that the government will recharge Huawei and will give more advice and access to us. And the second one is about the education program. We want to offer some scholarship to famous universities and establish some student programs, and we offer them some equipment. And also for the operator, we will cooperate with the world's biggest operators, bloggers, in 5G business. Hopefully, we will win a competitive advantage in the future. And that is Huawei's business process. And how we will production, we want to set up more R&D centers in Canada and hire more local researchers from the famous universities. And also, we will cover more areas besides the 5G and cloud technology, because nowadays, Huawei only refer to the two aspects. But we think that Canada actually is a nation rich in resources. So actually, we can launch some renewable energy program and also the future network research program, etc. in Canada to win the trust and to boom the job, to create more jobs in Canada. And for the indoor logistics, we want to cooperate with local logistic companies such as the FedEx Canada, and establish strategic alliance to guarantee the in-time supply. And for the production, as we see in the case that Huawei has 9% of suppliers in Canada, and we want to find more suppliers by giving some maybe online bidding and other things to guarantee the price is not that high. And also, this will have a benefit externally, that it will change the maybe some bad images for Huawei, because Huawei has some bad reputation for the red widow, because the costs are a little bit low and also the payment is a little bit low. But if we do it in Canada, actually it will improve Huawei's images as a whole. And also we will form some business solution group in Canada, because Canada is emerging business world and we want to enter. And let's welcome Ryan to give you some marketing solutions.
So in terms of marketing solutions, the main objective here is how to deal with those kind of national security concerns, right? So our suggestion here is Huawei in the short term should focus more on the other areas rather than that kind of not that friendly business like telecommunications. So the first part of our marketing strategy is the focus on promotion of retail products. Here, there will be two types of products that will introduce into the Canadian markets. They are all cell phones, Honor series and P series, which are both targeting at high-end customers. We believe that the method can actually have the following four advantages. First of all, as we all know, previously the business of Huawei is mainly B2B, which means that the normal Canadian people may not know the Huawei company very well. So by introducing Honor and P series cell phone, which stands for high quality, it can enhance brand awareness to the public. And secondly, it also can establish a high quality brand image, because our two cell phones stands for high quality. And thirdly, it kind of avoids security concern issues, because cell phone business actually has nothing to do with national security. And fourthly, in the long run, the retail business of cell phones will develop into a powerful downstream member of supply chain, which will enable the company to gain a more bargaining power for operators, forcing them to be more willing to cooperate with the Huawei company. So as for the telecommunication business, we suggest that the company should stay low at it, but it doesn't mean that the company does nothing at all. We suggest that it increases research and develop investment in telecommunication business, like the new 5G technology, in order to enable the company gain a very strong competitiveness in the future. So by further enhance the brand image, we suggest that the company should implement a CSR program. We name it Connecting to the Old by Huawei. What does that mean? Actually, we know that actually nowadays in Canada there are a serious aging problem, and there are a lot of old people who have no child and they are very lonely. So by connecting those kind of friendly children to those types of elder people with no children by Huawei phone, it can certainly increase the happiness of the elder people. Let's take a look at how to do it. First of all, we will send an advocate on social media to recruit those kind of warm-hearted children who are willing to take part into the program. And secondly, there will be customized pair of Huawei phone delivered to both children and to the old people. Well, for instance, if a little girl Mary is paired to an old man Peter, they will both gain a unique Huawei phone, like maybe a Hello Kitty one on it, which means that it stands for a very special relationship between them. And in special events, the children will call the old people and send greetings to him or her using the Huawei cell phones in order to make them feel more happy. And fourthly, of course, as a result, the feedback will be posted on social media like Facebook in order to expand its influence. So, what will happen to the Huawei's long-term image? By further process of globalization, as we mentioned before, here we can show you a brand association of Huawei. And in the future, when people think of Huawei, they will first think of P series and Honor. It's a high quality cell phones, and also a very warm-hearted CSR program, and it also offers more job opportunities, and therefore, in addition, there will be a cooperation with local suppliers. So, normal Canadian people will think that Huawei actually lives with us, lives with those kind of Canadian people. And as a result, the whole strategy here is to gain the trust and confidence in normal Canadian people in order to use their power to convince the business of telecommunication business that we are actually a very responsible company for local community. So next, let's welcome my partner to elaborate on how the financial analysis will support our solution.
Okay, thanks for my teammates. And here I would use the financial analysis to illustrate two problems. The first one is whether the double investment of 5G research in a case which is 210 Canadian dollars to 420 Canadian dollars is reasonable for Huawei. And the first reason is that we can expect 5G technology in a newly developed Canadian markets can increase the operating margin for Huawei by maybe 3%. And because it is a new technology and it provides the customers with higher speed and a good experience in the surfing online. And the second reason for the investment is that according to our calculation, the payback period under the assumption that operating margin will increase by 3% and the payback period will be less than 4 years. And because of the telecommunication industry is a changeable, it changes very fast, and a shorter payback period will be more secure for the manufacturer such as Huawei. And the next part is that we have made a cost and margin focus for the future 10 years of Huawei, and we can expect the sales of Huawei can grow up as the market has much more demand for its products. And also the total cost of Huawei, as we have mentioned before, when Huawei cooperates with the local suppliers, its cost can be controlled very effectively, and the fixed cost in the next 5 years may be increased, but in a longer period it may be more stable. And as a result, we can achieve two financial goals, that is more adequate cash flows for Huawei Canada and also a higher profit margin. So although we have proposed our plans, but several risks we should pay attention to and take immediate response to avoid it from loose. The first risk we mentioned here is the government may change the attitude towards the Huawei. This is a much critical one, because when Huawei faces the governmental pressures, it can nearly do nothing but change its key points of its operation, that is to focus more on mobile retail sales. The second risk we mentioned here is the market of telecommunication equipment may be penetrated by other competitors when Huawei in the early period focused more on mobile retail sales. And we suggest that Huawei should co-research with the operator in 5G technology, because as it has done in China with the operator to develop the newly technology with the operator. And this can help Huawei to penetrate it into the 5G market in advance. So finally, let's welcome my teammates to make an executive summary for you.
So today, our plans are mainly divided into short-term and long-term in response to different problems. Firstly, towards the issues on national security. Our rules on this problem is to focus on retail sales and to focus on CSR program. Through these two actions, to try to reduce the negative influence that have caused by this kind of issues and also recover from this crisis. And secondly, as for long-term plans, what the goal we want to achieve is to further conquer the Canada market and to be deeply rooted into the Canada market. And that's why we want to build brand association, and that's also why we want to further our localization strategy inside Canada. And we also want to forge strategic partnership and have further development on the 5G technology development in the future. And we hope that through this long-term strategy, it will help Huawei achieve a sustainable growth in Canada market in the future. And that's all. Thank you.
Judges, any questions you might have? I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes, and I'll give you 1 minute or more.
Something like in terms of, it's a very sort of clear structure as you go through in terms of analysis of solutions, and you have a plan around short versus long term. But there's a lot of lack of sort of cost consideration. When you actually go through it, have you actually think about the cost aspect of your solution or your recommendation?
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, we have make some consideration about the cost, and as we want to root it in the Canadian market, and we have to cooperate with the local suppliers. But as we all know, compared to developing country, the labor cost, the other costs may be higher in in developed countries such as Canada. And but we can take some actions to control the cost, actually, such as we can, as Huawei do in the global market, it can make some opening binding process to make the procurement cost much lower. But as we want to cooperate with the Canadian local suppliers, the participants are restricted to the Canadian local suppliers. But actually, through such a binding process, the procurement cost can be lower to some extent.
Thank you.
I had a question. First, thank you so much. I think very well done. Very complex case, at least for me. A lot of your solution hinged around the promotion of retail products and how you get into the retail market first and diverting on overall strategy of getting into the carrier market. Did you see anything in the case which told you about what competitive advantage Huawei will have if they enter into the retail market? And how big is the size of the retail market? I recollect reading in the case that the retail market is not very big. So how do you therefore substantiate your strategy of moving towards retail? So two parts to the question again. Let me ask. Does Huawei have a competitive advantage? Did you do any analysis around that when you are recommending that they need to move or focus on retail in the short term? And secondly, is the size of the retail market in the case? Did you see any pointers which said the size of the retail market is large or small? Is it worth really for Huawei to enter?
Thank you for the question. So first of all, we admit that for the high-end market in Canada, there will be a huge competition because, as we all know, Apple's and Samsung has already taken up a huge amount of market share here. So we sort of came up a solution that Huawei will achieve its Nikkei market share by differentiating its market, which means that Huawei especially focuses on its high quality of hardware. So maybe Huawei doesn't have the phone that have a very beautiful interface like Apple or very many applications like App Store, but it definitely has the best quality of hardware, like the best CPU and best those kind of hardware things, which will attract the attention of those kind of geeky lovers for mobile phone, cell phone service. So this is the differentiation strategy when it enters the Canadian market.
So if I
And
may
for the
just,
first question,
sorry.
and so actually, I think the question lies in the exclusive function of Huawei, right? Because actually in Canada, there are two competitors. The first one is the Ericsson, and also the Nokia. But we think that compared to that two main competitors, Huawei has two advantages. And the first one is that its leading technology in 5G. Because Huawei want to promote the technology by 2020. And these kind of things, Huawei has successfully done in 3G and 4G. And that's why it has been a global brand and extend to the world. So we think the technology advantage is really big. And the second one is about the price, because we see from the case that Huawei outsourced every components of its equipment from the world, everywhere, and it has a really distinctive cost advantages. So we think that the low-cost strategy can be applied and can help Huawei to win the market in Canada. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things to add on that. You spoke about focusing on the elderly people as a target market. And then the products that you have for Huawei are more hardware oriented, less user friendly. And you spoke about social media as a way to create kind of the branding and improve the branding. If you look at the social media usage, the elderly kind of demographic is not the highest usage, or the influencers. They don't go around influencing other people on it. So, and what they want is something which is easy to use. If you talk to them about a CPU being a better, I don't think will have much more of a, it doesn't have to me, to be honest, forget elderly people. So, so that's kind of one inconsistency that I kind of see from where I sit. The other thing is, you talk about a pretty big shift from where, if you look at Huawei's business, only about 20% is consumer based kind of equipment. The rest of it is enterprise. To change, and what they've been trying to do is get into the enterprise market, which is the big dollars that you're going to have there, as against the kind of consumer end of it. It's a big shift in strategy. So I'm not sure that necessarily, from an enterprise perspective, really is something worth thinking of. The key question here is, what are the issues that Huawei is dealing with in this market, and how do you address it? I mean, retail is one, but it'll take you kind of 10, 15 years to get there. What do you do till that time to the core enterprise business? What do you guys think they should be doing? How do they address the concerns that people have?
Thank you for your question. So, just for your first question about the CSR program, maybe I'm not very clear just now, because the program, the usage of social media here is to expand the influence of the whole program to as many people as possible. So, elderly people is actually not involved in the social media. The whole program is based on the idea that there will be a pair phone sent to your children to the elder people, and using that Huawei phone, children can send warm greetings to the elder people. And this event will be posted on social media and expand its influence. So social media is just a tool for the program to expand its influence. And for the second question, we believe the main challenge here is the Canadian government and Canadian people doesn't trust Huawei because it seems to be aggressive in its expansion, and also because of its unique characteristic of the industry, its telecommunication. So so we are talking about a short-term strategy is to just avoid the very sensitive issue about telecommunication to first establish the brand image by retail business, and in the long run we will discuss about it, the B2B business and further develop it. And in the meantime, during the staying low period, we will focus on developing 5G technologies in the period in order for the Huawei company to gain more competence in the future.
Thanks.
Yeah, I have.
Sure, go ahead.
I have some ads for
Sure.
my teammates, and we don't mean that we will abandon the enterprise market because it is with higher profit margin, it is more lucrative, and we just use the retail sales to make the brand of Huawei more friendly to the people, to the government in Canadian, and we also expect that with the more people can accept the brand image of Huawei, and we can furtherly capture the market of the enterprise. That's our long-term in long-term period.
I had one half question, half an observation. I mean, first slide, I really like what you said about how do you go about mitigating the impact of political concern that they face in terms of security concern. And you mentioned something about going and providing a discount in the rural markets, and also about going into the education sector and helping students out in terms of providing equipment, etc. And I thought that was a really good ploy. I didn't see that folding back when you were providing your solution set, either in the short term or long term. So did you lose that bit somewhere in between from the first slide on to the last slide? I think you mentioned about in the first slide. It didn't come out in the last slide. So can you just explain that bit?
Thanks for the question. And because actually in today's case analysis, we divide it into several functions because we think that the marketing are really a crucial part. So we distinguish marketing and we divide marketing into short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So actually, when the education and also like the government relationship is in the daily operation part, and I'm in charge of that part, and I think it is a direct response to what my partner editor has proposed to you, that actually Huawei need to win trust from the government. So we think, first of all, we have to suggest our goal, our stance today, and then we can continue to our other solutions. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please to that, here's one more question. That's your name. Do you want to? You go. You know, you made some assumptions on financials and payback. Could you just explain what was the basis? You said double up the investment, 3% operating margin increase, 4-year payback. Just want to understand.
Okay. Actually, we have made some calculation on this, and because in the presentation, the limited of time, we haven't showed this for you. And okay, here is the calculation process of us, and the first 3 lines are from the case. The first 2 lines, the data are from the cases, and we use the 2012 figures to make the estimation, and the operating income is 3,900 million. And as we expect that with the 5G technology and the operating margin of the company can goes up by 3%, and the cash flow, incremental cash flow, we use the operating income to be an estimation of the cash flow, and the incremental cash flow will be 170 million. And we didn't, for simplification, we don't use a discount base, because just use the simple calculation, and the payback period would be 3.6 years, which is less than 4 years.
So the 3% is an assumption that the operating margin will go up by 3% with the introduction of 5G.
Yes, because we can expect that with the 5G, the bargaining technology that has some patterns, maybe the sales price of the equipment made to the operators may have a higher profit margin, and we can, as the charge for the operators to the customer for 5G can goes up maybe by 10%, and we just expect 3% of the growing operating margin.
So I just have a last question. We have 1 minute, because my understanding was 5G gets launched only in 2020. So it's just the investment that you're making right now. So how does that flow into your operating margin for the first 4 years? And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to recollect what I read in the case. So 5G, the investment is being made, but the launch will only be in 2020.
Maybe the payback period would be started at the launching point of the 4G 5G.
That's time, gentlemen. It's made.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very nice.